Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to cover the last 60 seconds of Season 1, Episode 1 of She-Hulk. And I'm going to explain why it's the worst 60 seconds of action I've ever seen in a TV show. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, just let me know if you can spot the evil white guys. Yeah, I will give you two guesses about who the evil white guys are in this scene here. Yeah, okay, I think you got it. And oh, let's not forget this guy too. Yes, okay. And I included the timestamp here for a reason. This is 29 minutes into the show, and just let you know that this show is about 30 minutes and 30 seconds long, and we're still waiting to have the big battle with the big baddie for this show, so it's about to get underway. The fight scene is literally like 60 seconds, and about 50 seconds of that is dialogue. So there's maybe all of 10 seconds of action. And I'll show you the scene, but there's a lot of issues with this scene. So that's what we're going to do. Now we're going to break down this scene, and we're going to describe why it's an absolute cluster. So we see Titania. We get her that she's busting through the wall. This was a nice effect, some practical effects here, obviously, and a mix of practical, I think, and special effects, but it was good. And we don't get Titania's name, though, and we don't get her motivation. Now, we did get a glimpse of her powers, which at least was the super strength, and then we get a glimpse of another power from her in just a moment. Now, I just want to say the editing of this scene is absolutely horrible. So again, here we have Titania making her entrance. And next, I want to show you the actual scene itself. So real quick, let's watch through the scene and then we'll break it down. So we have She-Hulk going all Hulk mode. Titania asks, "Who the heck are you?" She-Hulk's like, "I'm She-Hulk, attorney at law." And then suddenly Titania is throwing a desk. She-Hulk catches it, throws it back. Then suddenly Titania's flying through the air, and she punches her, and she goes flying against the wall, which looks not very good, and I'll explain why. And that's the end. That's the end of the scene. That's the end of the show. Okay, let's break it down. So going Hulk mode, I'm going to talk to Titania. Now keep in mind where Titania is positioned. She's right in front of the judge's desk, asking, "Who are you?" "I'm She-Hulk." The whole time that She-Hulk is talking to her, she's looking straight ahead, as if she's looking at Titania. Titania hasn't moved. And yet, in the very next scene, we see Titania not only has the desk that She-Hulk was standing in front of, and we can see that the person, her co-counsel, is cowering there. She's over by the wall where she came in at. So this is just an odd transition. There was no transition. This is just an odd cut. Suddenly she is standing around with a desk in her hands ready to throw it. Now, that's the issue that I have with this part of the scene, is that she suddenly moved and there was never any indication that she was moving or that she should be in a different location. So that's just a poor editing. Again, that's an object in motion has moved. We didn't see the starting point, or we did see the starting point that was in front of the judge's desk. We didn't see the motion at all, and then suddenly she's at an end point, which is over by the wall where she was. Also, she's picked up something. She's got something in her hands, so that was picked up. We didn't see that motion either. Yeah, I just don't agree with that kind of editing. So now she throws, and we actually get the full beginning and middle and end here. She throws the desk. We see the desk flying through the air. We see She-Hulk run over, intercept it. Dodgy CGI here, though. All right, this is where it gets better CGI. And now we see She-Hulk send it back to Titania. So, all right. That's a beginning, middle, and end for a moving object. I can appreciate that. Desk lands on Titania. Okay, so all is well, right, with that scene. And we cut back to She-Hulk. She's smiling, kind of gloating a little bit. And now we have Titania, who is no longer under the desk. She hasn't taken the desk and thrown it off of her and stood up and faced off against She-Hulk. Instead, she's just over on the other side of the room, like she's already backed up, so she could get a running start and start doing this bad Hong Kong sideways kung fu wirework kick. We have an object that has moved from its end point, and we didn't see that happen. But now we can start this as a new scene where we did see from the starting point, we see the object in motion, so we see her run. Well, we see her flying through the air, so we've got a complete scene here so far. And then we see her get punched by She-Hulk. Oh, what just happened? We didn't see her get punched. We should see her run, fly through the air. We should see She-Hulk punch her, and then we should see her fly back. That is a completion of the scene. But instead, we see them almost connect, and instead of her flying back, we get to see the fist in the camera. Yeah. Again, not the way I would have done it. I think you're kind of robbing the fans, you're robbing the viewers of the action there of that scene. So that's the close of that scene. Now we start another scene, and that is that Titania, we now know that she should be in motion heading back in the other direction. So we've got an initial frame of reference. She's in midair getting punched or just got punched. So she should be flying back now. And she does indeed fly back very quickly. And then we have this quick camera motion. And the camera motion is obviously being accentuated here by some, some editing blur effects that have been added on as a transition. So quick camera motion, blur transition also added to give that movement, to appear to give movement to Titania. Because if we look at Titania carefully, she's not moving. She's just already against the wall. We also, when you watch this, hear the crunch of the wall at this point in time, but all of this is just camera trickery right here. She's already against the wall. The wall is already busted. So, practically speaking, I understand they just didn't want to do the practical effects, and they were going cheap. They didn't want to do the practical effects. That's just all there was to it. So they showed the wall is already broken, and they just did some fudging with the editing and even fudging with the wire work to not even show her actually get thrown against the walls. They just had her go and lay against the wall, and then they did a quick zoom or a quick pan with the camera, and they let post do all the rest. And again, I feel like we're kind of robbed of the actual action here, because I mean, it gives you the illusion, but it doesn't look quite right. And you'll notice it. So that's all there is to that. And like I said, that's it. That's the end of the show. End of the action sequence and end of the show. It takes all of 10 seconds of action. So what did I think of the ending of Season 1, Episode 1 of She-Hulk, A Normal Amount of Rage? I honestly think it's the worst effects and editing that I've seen in the ending of a show that I can remember. It's absolutely like the worst 60 to 90 seconds of television that you've ever seen, in my opinion. And the show as a whole, I would give it about 3 out of 5 stars. It's about a 60% effort, in my opinion. It's not great. It's not the worst thing ever, the show as a whole, but certainly the last 60 seconds are just utterly terrible. So what do you think of the ending of the show? Was it the worst last 60 seconds of any show that you can recall? It's certainly the worst last 60 seconds of any show that I can remember. But let me know what you think in the comments below. In the meantime, if you want to continue to smash the narrative, maybe even Hulk smash the narrative, then smash the like subscribe, and share buttons, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Watch for my other videos where I break down the rest of this episode and tell you everything that is wrong with Season 1, Episode 1 of She-Hulk, A Normal Amount of Garbage.